So test 1, 2. Shalom, shalom. Test 1, 2. Shalom, shalom. It's a new day, brand new day. Kingdom of Esau.
Yeah.
Sound boom. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. So here we are again, yet another day of Curacao. Start a little bit of rain. Lord willing, it won't be too much. Like that day. Was je ook bij, toch? Ja.
Yeah, man, we went running.
Yeah, when we went over there.
It
And
seems
it
like
was really pouring. It's like one cloud and it got like thick drops. But yeah, in season, out of season, this is what we do. But yeah, let me just start with giving all praises. But giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rukakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for teaching us scriptures, among other things. Salutations to all the Akyam across the earth for doing this work in sincerity and truth. And shalom to the sincere brothers and sisters who are at home doing watching the videos and do the best to please Yahweh Basham Yahushai. So yeah man, so here we are, yet another day. Misschien een beetje draaien. Misschien een beetje chill. Dat is
Oh ja, kan ook.
Is that toch? Yeah. Sad. So yeah man, so another day weet je. And the thing is, of course there's a lot going on. But yeah, let's begin with let brotherly love continue. Yes, it's because all we got eventually, and when the times are getting tougher, those are the things that you gotta keep in mind. That the brothers is all we got. We can count on each other. We can, it's very important to have the brotherhood. That's also why it's important. That's why we always keep stretching. It's important to spend time with each other. Like for example, now the two of us we are on Curacao, but we also plan in time that we have our things to do here, but that we also plan in time that we can spend together. And also in Holland, like once a week you meet each other, and then after camp, we chill a little bit, we talk with each other, and also during the week, also you can connect each other, because we all do shit. We all go to shit. Because what does the scripture in the book of Sirach say? If you come to plead, to serve Yahweh Basham Yahushai, you gotta prepare your soul, you gotta prepare your mind for temptations, because hard times are about to come. But you're gonna have the brothers to catch, basically to help each other, And if you go to Ecclesiastes, I believe it's chapter 3, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Hebrews 13.
Oh yeah. Hebrews is you can bring that one up, because that's let brotherly love continue. Yeah, it's lucky. The other one is 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is Hebrews 13 and 1. Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to enter strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware.
Yeah, and that other one, the last part is it talks about sometimes we had it in the past. Jay came listening, and basically afterwards you never saw him again. And that might have been an angel. Sometimes angels just check in. And the scripture also said the angels encamped round about those that fear Yahweh Basham Yahushai. But yeah, let brotherly love continue, because like I said, that's all that we got is Ecclesiastes 4 and vanaf 9. Yeah, 12. So like I said, we can help each other. If you fall down, then another is there to pick you up. And also concerning, like I said, we all go to stuff. So we can learn from each other. Some brothers might have more experience in some field that you as a person don't have experience in, and these things got nothing to do with age, because everybody gotta walk a certain route. That's why the scripture also said in the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 8 or 7, I believe it's 8. Yeah, it's 8, where it speaks about one side you have water and on the other side you have a fire. You know, you have a deep water, you have a fire, and Bondia, and that talks about and it's also said that that path is so narrow and full of travail and straits, you know, difficulties, and it's narrow that only one person at a time can walk thereby. And that's exactly this truth, you know, because we can help each other. But the scripture also tells you like work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So you have to do it yourself, but we can help each other. You know, we can show ourselves like, okay, look out, here's a stumbling block right here. You know, lift up your feet over it so that the thing over here don't let you stumble. You know, and if someone don't want to listen, he stumbles and then he eventually get out the camp. That's how we saw many men basically that were in the camp, you know, all over the world. Some with very high positions, even in our own camp, you know, like the second in command. You know, we were warning him about the stumbling block right in front of him. He was basically didn't give, he was zero fucks given basically. And eventually, where is he now? You know, first he got demoted. You know, he lost his position. Then he was suspended for 6 months, and then afterwards, eventually he got kicked out. He got kicked out. He was so doing all kinds of wickedness behind the scene, and the Most High was revealing. He revealed everything. Everything got to the open, and that's also what the book of Luke said. You know, maybe you can grab that real quick. It's chapter 12 and 2 and 3 if I'm correct.
Mr. Burton was no exception on a lot of white wives, but they had mistresses. They
Yeah,
took
2 and
the
3.
literally out of
Yeah.
the Bible.
Well,
Go and multiplicate. And here we are completely
This is the
multiplicated. And one of the midst of all these beauty, very beautiful children. And one of the
this is Luke 12 and 3.
start with verse 2.
Okay, yeah. This is Luke 12 and 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known.
Exactly, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. So the Most High will bring everything into the open.
Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the air, in closet, shall be proclaimed upon the housetop.
Yeah, you see that? So everything, you know, like I said, this former brother, you know, so he was also doing things behind the scenes, you know, and the day that we went to talk with him, basically the day that we went to talk to him about, okay, this is you know, do or die basically, you know, we're going to discuss the fact if you're going to stay in the camp, because he kept on bucking out, keep on doing all kinds of things that he himself was saying, like if a brother does this, you know, he had all this talk about, and he was doing the main things, you know, and at the point where we were talking with him, and he would say to us, he was begging us, like, please don't kick me out of this camp, you know, because this is all I got. Then we came to find out that he sent text messages to a brother talking about how shit basically the top of the camp was. You know, talking all that shit. And talking about heaping disciples and all that wickedness, you know. And that also came out. So because we knew him for a long time, you know, he was of course second in command. I don't know exactly how many years he was in the camp, maybe 50 years or something. I don't know. And of course, if you know somebody a long time, you still want to give him a chance, you know. And that was something that, you know, but that the Most High showed us, like, you know, you have to put your emotions aside and think rational, because the things that he was doing, he was causing a schism in the camp, so he had to be removed. It's like when you have a cancer, when there's a cancer in the body, you know, before it's spread out, you need to cut it out, you know, and that's the same with this dude. So, Dana.
This is 1 Samuel 15 and 23. For rebellion for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
Yeah, and what does the scripture say about a witch? You know, the scripture said the Most High doesn't suffer a witch to live. You know, a witch needs to be cut off. So, can you read it again?
This is 1 Samuel 15 and 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
So rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. So if you being rebellious means you will not want to go by the rules. And that was funny because he was even going against his own rules, you know, teaching all kind of madness, which was also not according to the Bible, you know, talking about things that he had learned from his elders in Suriname,
Yeah.
you know, about certain things. And, you know, and the people in Suriname in the bushes, they deal with spirits, you know, like the Haitians do, like a lot of Dominicans do, you know, with the Brujeria. Europeans also, they also do that, you know. They like to deal with familiar spirits, you know, and these are things that you ain't supposed to do. You know, the scripture said, for example, the brother was in a situation, and the scripture said, just wash with water. He came with all kinds like that's why we call them seven spirits. You know, he came with that water that called seven spirits. You had Florida water. You know, all these things like a blauwsel, like some kind of soap. Told him to use some clay. And these are things that you know that they do like by how you call that? By traditions of men. You know what they do. You know, like, and I remember that because back in the days, years ago, when I didn't was that great, like how I am nowadays. So I used to date, you know, I used to deal with a Suriname girl, and they also had these things, you know, like they, you know, she, you know, like a friend of her would braid my hair, and then she would be like, yeah, I have to put like a blue dot at the back of your head because for the evil eye, because people gonna be jealous of you and this and that, you know, all these things, you know. And with the Suriname, you see that it's heavy with them a lot, you know. That, but all people also have that, you know. Like if you enter to the front door, you're not allowed to go to the back door. You need to enter to the front door also. And when you do that, you need to walk backwards and all kinds of all kinds of nonsense, you know. They put like also saw that by the Suriname, but also they put something. You know, some herbs, they hang it above the door, you know, all kinds of shit, you know. These are things that you ain't supposed to do, and that's also why the teachers teach us, you know, becoming a new man, and this is also part of it. Things that you might have learned from your parents, and now you find out like, okay, this is not according to the scriptures. You ain't supposed to do it. You need to cut it off, you know. Instead of, but what was he doing? He was learning younger brothers that, you know, younger brothers which he already knew, like they are looking towards him, like, you know, they already basically put him on a pedestal, so they're gonna basically accept all the things that he was saying, you know. So yeah, man. But and those things they can eventually, then the Most I got rid of him, you know. But yeah, you know, like there's a whole sidetrack concerning the stumbling block, but to just show you an example, you know, how brothers be warning you, because we've been talking to him, you know. I had to drive like an hour to my house, you know, and I would stay there talking with him, you know, fighting my sleep, driving home, falling asleep behind the steering wheel, you know. I came home still I came home safe, you know, to the mercy of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. But nevertheless, you know, we really tried, you know, to get him from that stumbling block. But eventually, it became his downfall, you know. Of his downfall, you know, he lost the brotherhood. He lost the brotherhood, and he literally said that this is all I got. But he was such on the, you know, that's also where if you don't acknowledge, you know, because we all, you know, like we were talking before we started to teach, you know, we all got to deal with demons, you know. Demons, they can pop easily in your mind, in your head, and talk some shit, or make you feel some way, and you think it's you, but it's not you. And you got to be aware of it, you know. But if brothers be warning you and you don't want to accept it, eventually it's going to be enough, you know. The Most High showed him a lot of mercy. He was always ready to fight another brother for no reason, you know, blame him from everything. The Most High even made it like this, that basically the camp split up, you know. Now we got two camps in Holland. We got the camp in Utrecht and we got the camp in South Holland in Rotterdam. You know, and twice a month we get together. You know, once a month the brothers from Rotterdam come to Utrecht. And the other time, you know, once a month we go from Utrecht to Rotterdam. So the Mossad even made it like that so that they don't, that he didn't have to deal with him on a weekly basis. That they wouldn't see each other that often once a week anymore. And still, even when he was away, he was still talking about that the brother was irritating him and this and that, you know. And the brother had a dream that he was fighting a demon, and that demon was so powerful that he asked that demon, like, what is his name? And the demon said the name of that brother. And still he didn't listen.
Yep.
You know, he had, you know, remember like Hanania had that dream that he saw him lying down on the ground and the Mossad was angry with him.
Yeah.
You know, even that dream. You know, he didn't want to break it down, but he had so many warnings, and that's also the thing. If you don't want to hear, if you have children, I have children, you know, if they don't listen, you know, I warn them 2-3 times. If they don't listen, I don't warn them anymore. I smack you. I'll be like, what did I tell you? Pop, pop, pop. Then you're going to get it. And you want to cry, I tell you also to stop it. You know, I have boys, so of course, you toughen them up, you know. I'll be like, okay, I don't even want to hear you cry, you know. You'll be like, if you're fighting with his cry, you know, yeah, I'll be like, yeah, you know, you deserve it. You know, I was saying with the oldest, he's not really, you know, the youngest is he got more, I said it, he's a little more, his ears are a little bit more heavier. Let me call it like that. It's not really that he's like rebellious, you know, with me, at least he's not. Because his ears are sometimes heavy, you know, I warn him and then he'd be like, oh shit. My dad, but then, you know, then you get a slap and be like, oh shit, he warned me, you know.
Shows you also the respect that you're gonna have with the creator, because when I was growing up also, my father smacked me sometimes, man. But now to this day I be like, man, yeah, I deserve that shit.
Exactly.
And it makes me better, man. Oh, you want to cry more?
Yeah.
Smack me more.
You want to cry? I'm going to give you something to cry,
you know?
about. You want to cry for this?
Yeah.
I didn't even hit you that hard.
And the scripture.
Are you going to cry? Hey, I'm going to show you something.
Yeah, and the scripture also talks about it. If your child doesn't listen, you can correct him, man.
Yeah, it's normal.
He ain't gonna die for it.
Exactly.
Like the Edomites here say, like,
Yeah.
you ain't supposed to hit your child.
And
Hey,
that's why their children are out of order, man.
Exactly.
Yesterday I was at the beach and I saw this devil child.
Yeah.
He was throwing rocks, you know, from the water towards the beach, and he was with his grandmother.
I saw
Was
that
like a
also,
shepherd,
man.
and she was like, "Don't throw rocks." And he was only doing wicked shit. There was a dog passing by. He was
Oh,
trying to taunt the dog, you know.
Yeah.
Was all doing all this shit, you know.
I saw that also yesterday, man. Crazy when you talked about it. Yeah, he was throwing rocks from the higher, basically the beach is low,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was throwing rocks to the beach. And then I heard his mother said, "Don't throw rocks down." And I was like, if that rock hit me,
Yeah,
I'm
going
going
to be that
upstairs.
person with that child. Yeah, I was also looking at the child. I was sitting at the bench, and he was going from the water to the.
Yeah.
I'm like, if a rock, I was the same thought. I had the same thought.
I skipped father and mother.
Yeah, hey, the grandmother couldn't do shit. I would grab him by the ear and like, lift him up like, what the fuck you doing? You know,
Yeah,
one
man.
more time, you know, I'm gonna rip your head off, and then
Exactly.
show him like this, you know, show him like, okay, go ahead, and call child protection
Yeah,
so, you
yeah,
know.
you're gonna see, man. Even the police come here, like,
Hey,
beat
the
your ex,
police,
man.
the police gonna beat him also,
Yeah,
you know.
man. Oh, you were throwing rocks down?
Okay, is that what you were doing?
Oh,
Okay.
now I hear the
Yeah,
information.
man. They removed you. Like, remember, like, I don't know if you were also on that beach. Was I think it was Knip or something.
Yeah.
With this people from Argentina.
Yeah.
They were being racist. They had like an autistic child that was slapping out the children.
No, I don't know.
They were maybe it was Khazak. That Khazak came later. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But they were like Jakes from America, you know.
Yeah.
And the child was very. They couldn't control the child. He was beating up children and all that.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you know, the father, that was a father of one of the people over there, like a man,
Yeah.
he stepped in because they were not correcting the child, and then they started turning racist and all that.
Oh,
But then all the shit came out, that the police came, and the female was screaming, yeah, come, you know, it was Negro, this and that, blah, 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 and they come to Argentina, this, that, you know, then the devil come out, you know, when the Edomites, when they cannot win or something, they always pull out, they always start to become, racist, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So she was talking all the shit. Then the police came and they removed them. You know, he heard the whole story, and then they removed them from the beach. They had to go, and and even on the moment, you know, they lost their child, and the child start beating people. You know, when the police was there, so there was no. They had to go. You know?
And that's
And that was beautiful, and I was laughing to them. I was laughing. I told the Americans like, it's good, man. Let these demons go. You know.
Yeah, and that's fair, but it also gives you like when you were here and certain things like that happen. Because when we're in Holland, you already know when the police comes,
Yeah.
it's gonna help the other side.
Yeah, man.
And here you feel like, hey, they listen first,
Yeah.
and then they act. They
Over
here,
here,
they don't care about your feelings.
In Holland, they are fucking racist, man.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I had with a brother, one time, like years ago, we were in the train. There were a bunch of Edomites, like 11 or 12 of them,
Yeah.
and they were being very irritated. We already, you know, was after camp. You know, we had the last train.
Yeah.
They were drunk and all that shit, and you know, they were singing songs, and we were only two Jakes. You know, I sit on one side, he sit on one side, and you know, at a certain point, the songs started to change. You know, so they started to make some racist song, this and that. They were very annoying, you know, and then at a certain point we got into a fight with them, you know. We get into a fight with them, they were bleeding and all this shit, and there were only two of us, yeah? And the conductors, they saw it because they were very annoyed. They were laying in the luggage things, they were laying up over there, they were smoking weed in the thing. Then the police came and they were like, yeah, then on the next station, y'all have to get out. And I got angry. I'm like, you're fucking racist. We have to go out. And this fucking whole group there, they started. I'm like, from Amsterdam, they're already busy, you know. And I think we were at Amersfoort. It was like one stop, then we were at our spot. I told them like, I told the police, I'm like, fucking racist. This fucking bullshit. You see how the fucking group is? We were with the two, and the conductor also said they were busy from Amsterdam, and they were there when it started, and they saw that they started to fight, and we were basically defending ourselves. And they said, yeah, they started this and that, and then they said like, yeah, okay, because they sent them to the other part of the train, and they said, okay, they will stay there. They have to get off at the same spot, but they stay there, and then you can also stay. I told the cop, you know, you're fucking racist, man. I was cursing him out. I was like, fuck you, this and that, you know. I got angry. I'm like, fuck you, man. You're fucking racist, kanker Nazi. Those are things I said to him. He couldn't say nothing because he wanted to throw us out. I was like, je wil ons uitsteken. We zijn met z'n fucking twee, man. Ik heb die hele groep, man. I told him like, there's fucking 10 or 12 people, man. The fuck you talking about? And the conductors were like, they were confirming what we were saying. And I said, they were smoking, and then the joint was laying like one seat.
So you
I said, they were smoking here also, but you want to throw us out. You fucking kanker racist. He looked at me like this. Normally they would arrest you because it's you know, you insult them, you know. I'm like, nah, man, motherfuckers, you know, you're not gonna get away with this shit.
Shows you that they don't have the right authority, man.
No, man.
They will never play fair. If you
Exactly.
give Esau authority, he will do bullshit with it, man.
Yeah, you always see that on the job, you know. He doesn't know shit. He doesn't know how to make the company work, that the work will be productive. But yet he want to tell you how to do it, you know.
Exactly. And if you do a better job than him, he will throw you down, man.
Yeah, he will try to throw you for
the
front
bus,
of the bus.
man.
You know? I had that, you know, like a job that I used to work in shifts, you know. Was also a dude. He was always sucking up with the team leader basically, and then they make him like like foreman, like a front man. They make him like a front man, but he doesn't know shit, you know. And he was like, you know, okay, we got a new system. How we gonna do this, you know? There was like in a company that they used to wash like cloths that they use for the like cleaning cars and like mechanics and stuff. Like it was like an industrial laundry factory basically, you know. And they had like a way, you know, like for cloths that went to the UK, for example, and they were like in garbage bins, like the same style, you know, like the small ones over there. With a lid on it, and you have like upstairs. They basically had to pick out the damaged cloths out. You know, it comes from the dryer, and it's like a big white. Like a white band, and like 3 people there, and then they pick out the bad ones, they throw it away, and the good ones goes down there, and downstairs you're there, you know, I'm working with the forklift, and you have to fill them like 4 on the pallet, and then 4 on top of each other, so like 8 from the spins.
Yeah.
But he was like making a new system. We do it like this and that, blah blah blah. And I already saw it like that's gonna take a lot of work. It's not different. And I, I'll be like this. Okay. So you thought about it, and he was never good at the job. So I told him like, okay, then this is a new system, right? This, I don't think it's gonna work, but if you think it's gonna work, show me that it's gonna work.
Yeah.
So I made him do it, and it didn't work. It was a mess, and I didn't help him. I was just looking at him, and eventually he was. I call that overspannen. I was. He had a burnout. Eventually, he had a burnout, And because he was a stuck up with the team leader, and the team leader was like me and another dude, Jake. He looked like an Edomite, but I to his spirit, I was like, when I was looking at him, he was like an Issachar. He was moving, always fixing his hair. He had a scooter. Wearing the helmet, but before he was put a helmet on, he was still fixing his hair. He came to work, with shoes like for 700 euros, with the pointy shoes, this and that, and I know that Issachar is about the shoes, They're like the crazy pointy shoes, and I'm like, yeah, he's probably Issachar. But you come to work, but you have to, change your clothing because you have to wear safety shoes and some kind of uniform, from the job. So, but he always come fresh to the job,
Yeah, this is a come.
Yeah, but with him, with two of us, we used to work perfectly. We basically made the whole the thing go flowing. People always came to us like asking like what they had to do and all that. But that's a fine example of a dude that they put in a position that he was not capable of. And eventually, because he keeps on making mistakes, because we were like, okay, you think you're the man, so we just let him make mistakes, and everything that he tried went fucked up till the point that he called in sick, and then we heard that he had a burnout, and he basically never came back,
Screw up already.
Yeah, he was screwed up already from the beginning. We already saw him, But that's always the thing. The Edomites, they always think that they know better.
Yeah.
But they know shit, Also, at like with the container outside, something got stuck, and I told this dude like, okay, I know how to get it unstuck, and he was like, no, it's not gonna work like this, blah blah blah. And remember, the other brother, Natasha, he was also working there for a while. He was also there, and he was seeing that. He had to laugh, because this dude was like, no, I'm over when it happened all the time. He did like this and that, but he was busy there for hours. So I came like, okay, let me fix it. In a few minutes, I had to fix,
Done.
I'm dead. I had to fix it. Eventually, he had nothing to say anymore. But he was talking, it's not gonna work, man. Blah, 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 blah. He had all this talk because last time also had it, and now it's not. I'm like, yeah, I know, I can fix it. No, it's not possible. Blah 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 blah. Then I fixed it.
I always like that when the spirit of Yahweh Hashem comes upon us, even when we don't know, man. Certain things comes in your mind. You'll be thinking, you're looking at things, and then certain things come in your mind. Do this. You'll be like, okay, let me try. And you'll be fixing. You'll be like, hey, man, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Before the truth, you did. Before, let me speak for myself. Before the truth, I didn't know it was Yahweh Hashem that put it in my mind. You'll be like, I'm creative, man. I'm doing this shit. But eventually, if you think about it, Most High is programming in your mind, like, just do this, and do this, and the end result is there. And that's also sometimes I'll be on my job. If I cannot fix it at that moment, I'll be praying, man. I mean, Yahweh Hashem, please download the program, like the Matrix, right? Program it in my mind, and then after a few minutes, you'll be like, I see it. You're fixing it. Hey, Kalala Yahweh Hashem, man.
Yeah, man.
That's how it goes, man. The spirit from Yahweh Hashem. It's also the salt of the earth again.
Exactly, man. Yeah, man. Exactly. That's exactly what it is, man. The spirit, the power of Yahweh Hashem.
Yeah. They don't have it.
Exactly, man. Get you to all the situations. Yeah, man.
Finish this one. This is 1 Samuel 15 and 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and adultery. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we are in this situation nowadays. We didn't want to hear the law, statutes, and commandments. We didn't want to obey it. We didn't want to serve Yahweh B'Shem with joy. That's why we're in this situation. That's why we put off the basis of man, the lowest of all the heathens in rulership.
That's crazy.
And you see the whole earth is going to shit, man. The whole earth is going to shit, and that's exactly why these devils, how do you say that? Why these devils gonna get nothing, man. When the kingdom of Yahweh B'Shem is gonna be established here upon earth, they're gonna get nothing, man. The It's nothing for that. The other heathens, they're gonna get their country back eventually after 1,000 years, but they're gonna be under the children of Israel forever. But the Edomites, they're gonna be exterminated, man. Just said the Bible, they're gonna be wiped away from the planet. Yeah, man.
Also the Ecclesiastes still.
Ja, ja.
Voor
Van 9 tot 12.
This is yeah, I see. Ecclesiastes 4 and 9. Two are better than one, because thou have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow.
Yeah, and you know, like the example that I give, you know, if you make a mistake, you can help the other brother, basically correct him, you know, and you know, also, you know, you can, yeah, it doesn't always have to be a rebuke, you know, you can also show somebody like, hey, this is, you know, you ain't supposed to do it like this, you know, try it like this, you know, of somebody struggling with something, you know, and that's also where the experience comes in. That's also why I say it doesn't matter the age, you know, because we all got a way, you know, a certain path that we have to walk, you know, so we all go through certain things, and somebody might go into something and you already went through it, and maybe you didn't handle the situation good, but you know, like, okay, whatever you do, don't handle it on this style, you know. Yeah, man. So he recognized.
Yeah.
He said yes. You know? Yeah, and the word is getting out. You know, the word is getting out. And as you look around you, you got to realize that we are in the final days, man.
Yeah.
The final days. Things are about to change drastically, man. Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the guy came nearby and acknowledged, and he's from South America.
Yeah.
And you know about he was like Yahushua's dark-skinned man, so he be making respect for the prayer like that from the
prayer hands. Yeah.
And normally the South American people, they will not acknowledge Yahushua being black man. If you say Yahushua is preto, hoe zeg je het in het Spaans? Negro. They say no, blanco, blanco, blanco. But now they start waking up and be like, no man, it's true. He's dark skinned, man. Because they always, if you say to the Latino native to the Latin tribe, you're black, they be like, no, blanco, blanco, you're black. You're negro, me brown. A lot of them really want to be as the colonizer, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not good, man. But their minds are slowly changing. And it shows you also that we're coming back together as one.
Yeah, man.